This is Nik Airball, and we're diving into his incredible $8 million downswing at Hustler Casino Live.
You're on a bit of a downswing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How big of a downswing are you?
Like, depends on how you look at it, but like I would say it's like, you know, around 8 million.
In the latest episode of the Nick Vertucci Show, a prominent poker podcast, Nik Airball laid it all out. The show began with Vertucci welcoming Nick after a marathon poker session at Hustler Casino, and he got straight into it.
Are you willing to tell people how down you've gone?
You might wonder, is such a staggering loss even possible? Rumor has it that Nick has been venturing into off-stream territory, where PLO games of 1K, 2K are the norm.
They're playing like 1,000, 2,000 on average as blinds. Like,
imagine every hand potentially being worth thousands or even millions of dollars. As Nick's interview unfolded, the layers of his poker journey started to unravel. It's not just about the money, it's about the emotional roller coaster he's been riding. Imagine facing loss after loss, not just financially, but emotionally and personally.
Airball is down $670,000.
Nick didn't shy away from admitting that the constant defeat has left him profoundly unhappy and making him lose confidence in his ability to play poker at the highest level.
it's not really been as much about like the money. It's been a lot more about like the emotional pain.
Nick Airball's poker journey hasn't been all smooth sailing. There's been tons of drama and intense rivalries, including his infamous feud with Matt Berkey.
Oh boy. Life is good! You have to give him the chips. My chips, mother.
Nick also hinted at a feud with Brandon Adams that's set to air on an episode of No Gamble, No Future. Throughout the highs, the lows, and the heated clashes, one thing stands out: Nik Airball's unbreakable spirit. Despite suffering monumental losses, he hasn't lost faith in his ability to stage a comeback. That's the kind of resilience that defines a true poker player. Someone who can weather the storm and come out stronger on the other side and dealing with the emotional swings of the game. Just a few short years ago, the name Nik Airball was virtually unknown in the poker community. He jumped onto the poker scene in early 2022, a time when many of his peers were already established pros. Nick had barely made a dent in his Hendon Mob profile, and his poker origins remained a mystery. So, how did it all begin for Nik Airball? While precise details of his early poker experiences are scarce, what we do know is that he made his first appearance in live stream games in the Los Angeles area in early 2022. Back then, he played games with relatively low stakes compared to the massive buy-in action we've seen in him recently. Nick's ascent through the poker ranks has been nothing short of amazing. Despite his results at Hustler Casino, his presence in high-stakes games has been astronomical. But it's crucial to remember that Nik Airball doesn't confine his poker pursuits to the public eye. Much of his poker action takes place away from the streaming cameras. Beyond the poker tables, Nik Airball has shed light on his past as an investment banker. He credits his venture as the primary source of his substantial wealth. This insight into his professional life adds a layer of complexity to the enigma that is Nik Airball. In the realm of poker legends, we often think of players like Phil Ivey, Tom Dwan, and Andrew Roble, recognized for their skill at the table. They let their chips do the talking. Nik Airball represents a different generation, relying on a bold approach with words that sometimes outpaces his results on the felt. Being a guest on the podcast seemed to have brought Nik Airball a stroke of luck. His most recent appearance on Hustler Casino resulted in his biggest recorded win since July. Nick walked away with over $225,000, a substantial chunk which came from a remarkable hand against Ryan Feldman. Nick's King 9 suited turned into a straight flush on the flop, while Feldman attempted a bluff with Ace Deuce suited, ultimately making Nick over $200,000 richer. Is this win the beginning of the end for Nik Airball's downswing? Only time will tell. But what's certain is that this victory must have felt like a breath of fresh air after a prolonged period of losing millions. What lies ahead for the self-proclaimed King of LA? We can expect a lot more from Nick in the coming months. The upcoming season of No Gamble, No Future promises to be thrilling, with the impending clash between Nick and Brandon Adams on the horizon. For more intriguing poker stories, stay tuned for more videos and subscribe for a regular dose of poker excitement. Welcome to the Flop Factor.